the Buffalo Bills, who did make a big splash in terms of a trade. They trade for DJ Moore, who had a bit of an iffy year last season for the Bears. Wasn't great. There were questions of effort, but also it was a very crowded room. He's clearly still a talented wide receiver. I mean, he's had big seasons when he was in Carolina, and so it's maybe a risky trade. But they traded a second and a fourth.
Yeah,
So I'm confused because Adam
second and a
Schefter
fifth.
tweeted fifth, but wasn't it a fourth, or was it the other way? And he tweeted fourth and was a fifth.
It was second.
Doesn't matter. They traded for DJ Moore.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
traded
traded
DJ Moore. It's a second and then a
fourth or fifth.
Yes, a fourth or fifth.
Day 3
You
pick.
could say a
three
day
pick.
3 pick. There you go.
Beautiful. I love it. They're finally trying to get Josh Allen like a true alpha receiver.
Yeah.
And so I guess and they paid for it so.
Yeah.
So my question kind of to give you all the floor is, do you think that that's what they did with this move?
Yeah, I think this is a really good attempt, and hindsight will be 2020 on whether or not it works. But as far as what you had to give up for him, I don't think a second and a fifth is a lot. And also, at his best, he was a 1,000-yard receiver at Carolina. In 2023 and 2024, he had nearly 100 catches both seasons. And then in 2025, he takes that big step back. There's questions about effort. He has 50 receptions and posted a career low in receiving yards. But it was year one in a new scheme with a new head coach and offensive coordinator. I wonder if other guys, younger guys than him, who were more of who's the head coach of Chicago, the former Lions OC,
Ben Johnson.
Thank you, Ben Johnson. We're more Ben Johnson's guys. He drafts Colston Loveland. So, I mean, Johnson brings in all these weapons, and DJ Moore was not a weapon he brought in. It was more of a weapon that was a hand-me-down weapon. It was a weapon that he inherited. And I just wonder if he just didn't fit there.
There's a chance, but if you're a true alpha wide receiver, it shouldn't really matter who else they bring in if you're that good.
Well, maybe Rome Odunze is even more of an alpha wide receiver.
He did not have that kind of season.
Yeah.
But, because scheme does matter, and maybe, him and Ben Johnson just didn't get along. But it is kind of a pause for concern that an offensive savant comes in and you don't really have that good of a year.
Yeah, but I think as far as what they have had to give up and what the potential is, I think this is a great move for the Bills. And you think about last time they brought in a questionable wide receiver, Stephon Diggs. That went really, really well for 3 years. Is that however long he was there? It was a while.
At least a couple.
Several years in Buffalo, and it went really well. So I don't hate this move at all. I'm really excited to see how it pans out. I think he works really well with the weapons they already have there with Khalil Shakir in the slot. So I think DJ Moore is the kind of guy you want to come in and play at the X. And then hindsight will tell us whether or not it was the right move, because if it works, then it was, and if it doesn't, then it was the wrong move.
JP, your thoughts, and then I'll give mine.
I viewed it more so of a Joe Brady going to get one of his guys that also just happens to fit what Buffalo needs, which they need a wide receiver one. DJ Moore could be that. 4 1,000-yard receiving seasons in his 8 seasons in the league, I think that can qualify him as a potential wide receiver one. And they had no trusted receiver on the roster outside of Khalil Shakir, because Joshua Palmer, they signed to a nice contract, but he was hurt last year. Curtis Samuel, they really like, but he was hurt last year. And then Tyrell Shavers tore his ACL against the Jaguars.
Yep.
We don't even have to say anything but his name, Keon Coleman. And then Gabe Davis and Brandon Cooks, at least to this point, have both walked in free agency. They wouldn't bring back Gabe Davis anyway because he tore his ACL against Jacksonville as well.
Yeah.
So I viewed it more so of a Joe Brady going to get one of his guys. And in the year that Joe Brady was the offensive coordinator for the Panthers and DJ Moore was there, he had 1,200 receiving yards, 80 yards per game in the 15 games that he played that year. DJ has also been he's been a touchdown guy. He's been really good at that throughout his career. He's got 40 touchdowns across his 8 seasons. But the last 3 years in Chicago have been 6 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. So roughly 7 a season. That's pretty solid for a wide receiver. And that's something that they definitely need when they get in the red area. And when they get past midfield, it has been so reliant on James Cook scoring at the goal line, or one of their backs, or one of their tight ends, or Josh Allen, running with his legs. Having a guy who can catch touchdowns across an entire season is going to help spread that out and make them, harder to stop down there on the edge. And their second leading receiver this year was Keon Coleman with 400 yards behind Khalil Shakir. So there was a desperate need there. I don't think they overspent with the second round pick because you're in a window with Josh Allen, just like we were talking about with the Ravens just a second ago. And so I think you get more value out of the known commodity and a guy you like, literally known commodity, because Joe Brady has called plays for DJ Moore before, over a unknown commodity as good as this wide receiver class is going to be. So I'm all here for it for Buffalo. But I also want to reiterate the point we made with the Ravens, that it doesn't necessarily change the fact that it's no more excuses regardless. I don't think this heightens the no more excuses conversation with Josh Allen any more than the Max Crosby move does with Lamar Jackson. That was going to be there regardless. And I don't think the level of it changes with these two moves either.
Yeah, I mean, at some point, if you want to be considered a top 3 quarterback in the league, you got to make something happen in the postseason. So I agree. The no more excuses conversations were kind of also already there for Buffalo, despite this move. I'm a little wary of this move personally, and I think a lot of it is just due to the fact I'm wary on the Bills' front office and GM as a whole, and so it scares me. Now, on the plus side, y'all are 100% right. It's an upgrade. That's undeniable. It's better than what they had, and if I can trust just about anyone in the league to make a wide receiver great again, it's probably Josh Allen. To help a receiver, re-up his production, refine his groove. It's really not a better person to be paired with. So yeah, I'm good with that. Anything else from
I was
the
gonna
Bills?
throw out a quick. They released Taylor Rapp, which I didn't realize that he got hurt this year. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't watch. I watched some Bills games, but also that safety
JK
room.
is
Yeah, I'm sure. But I remembered him from earlier in the season. And it's just another step in trying to figure out, I guess, what the Bills' safety room is going to look like in the future, because it was so solid for so many years. They had Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde, and then Poyer played again this year, played 11 games, but he's older, doesn't have a lot left. Taylor Rapp was there. He spent the first part of his career, former Washington Husky, your Washington Huskies. So I'm just interested to see what their starting lineup will be, or what their safety room will look like next season. That'll be something I'll be keeping my eye on, just because it for years was a staple of the Buffalo Bills, was they had a great safety duo. And then, I feel like they've tried a lot of pairs with DeMar Hamlin. Was he gonna, was his play gonna match kind of the off-field notoriety he had because of his injury and that scare? But he was the starter at least for a while. I'm just curious to see what their starting lineup will look like.
Yeah.
Did say
I still got a difference.
Go for it.
The Bills. They made a ton of moves. They made a few moves today, at least. The Teron Johnson, originally was going to be released, but now they're trading him to the Raiders, and the Raiders ended up extending him, which we'll get to the Raiders in a little bit. They brought back Connor McGovern, but guys like David Edwards, their starting left guard, walked. Again, this was one of the best offensive lines and one of the best running games in the league last year, and David Edwards walked and is now a New Orleans Saint, which I'm ecstatic about. Reggie Gilliam, who's been there for a long time, their fullback, signed with the New England Patriots. They needed backup quarterback now. Mitch Trubisky moved to Tennessee to join Brian Dable once again, which we'll get to Tennessee in a little bit. So, and there's just still a ton of free agents that they have that are out there. Safety's a big one, like Sanders just mentioned. DeMar Hamlin and Darnell Savage are both free agents, but a ton of defensive needs are still out there with Joey Bosa, who's walking. AJ Epinesa is walking as well. And then Matt Milano, a guy who's been a green dot and been there for a long time, is a free agent. So this is a team there's a ton of moves left to make. They got roughly 25 or so free agents that are going to be out there, and they don't have a ton of cap flexibility to begin with. So I'm really curious to see how they manage it, where they backfill in the draft. But they've already lost some key pieces defensively.
Yeah, I mean they're going to have to continue to be smart and kind of stingy and execute well and be creative this free agency because you are right. They're losing a lot of pieces of tons of money to work with